This is the TBS Fusion FPV receiver module. And when it was first released, the user manual said it was the best FPV receiver you can get. But they've made it better because they have released a hardware update for this module that has an improved RF receiver chip in it, and the promise is that it's going to put it on par with RapidFire. That is the question that we are going to tackle today. We're going to upgrade the module, then we're going to take it out in the field and we're going to test it, and we're going to see if RapidFire finally has some competition. I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. The first thing we got to do is change out the hardware on this chip. And TBS thankfully designed it to make that really, really easy to do. They actually were really smart when they designed this chip because they knew that they were going to upgrade it. And by the way, some people are like, they knew they were going to upgrade it and they still sold it to us anyway. That is, take it easy, hang on. They sold the module $10 cheaper than it's being sold now. The hardware upgrade costs $10. So basically, if you bought this months ago, you've essentially, you didn't lose anything. You paid the same price to get the same functionality as somebody who bought the upgraded module today. The only difference is that you got to swap the hardware out. But in the meantime, you've been using this module and presumably you wanted it and that's why you bought it. So don't freak out. This is a dirty little secret of module testing, but there's variations in performance between these modules, even in the best of cases. So if you were to take 10 of these modules or 50 of these modules off the shelf and test each of them on an RF tester, you would find variation in performance between them, and sometimes as much as 3 or 4 dB, which is a really significant number. And that just goes back to the price of these things. I wonder if I'm supposed to, no. I wonder if I'm supposed to pull this foam off. I don't think so. Oh, I did that. So you can see on my previous one, I kind of pulled that off because it was, so that doesn't seem good. It's creating a lot of pressure here. I'm a little concerned that it'll, well, maybe that helps hold it in place. I don't know. On my last one, I cut that foam away to let it compress a little bit. Maybe that's... Quick note, when you squeeze these together, don't accidentally press on the screen and crack the screen. I haven't done that, but I almost did it, so be careful. Now, because I know these results are going to be very interesting to a lot of people, I want to take a little bit of time in this video to share with you some of the ways that I try to make sure that these results are as trustworthy and reliable and accurate as possible. And one of the things I do is before I run each test, I test the antennas that I'm going to be using in the test with this device. This is the OwlRC SWR meter. It is about a $100 device that measures the standing wave ratio of the antenna. And the short version of what SWR is it tells us a little bit about the antenna's tuning and its performance. And what I basically do is I try to find, well, number one, if the antenna is just damaged, the SWR meter will probably give us a weird result and we'll throw out that antenna. But the other thing I do is I find 2 antennas that have roughly similar performance, and that hopefully helps make sure that we're giving each module as fair a chance as possible. This is not as good a device as a $3,000 or a $15,000 RF meter, but I don't have $3,000 or $15,000 to spend. So thank you to OwlRC for sending me this device, and there's a link to it in the video description if you want to pick it up for yourself. All right, now we've got our matched sets of antennas, and we are ready to go. Here's the other way that I try to make sure that the results you see are as accurate, trustworthy, and reliable as possible. I do not use a DVR or an external screen or anything else that would change what you would see if your eye was in the goggles. I use this 3D printed jig. I did not design this. I'll put a link to the Thingiverse listing for this down in the video description. It holds the GoPro in place and lets the GoPro record the screen of the goggles, so you are literally seeing exactly what the goggles show. One of the things people always ask when I do these tests is, how do you fly through the breakup? Like, the signal will be totally broken up and you'll keep flying. And the answer is that I am not standing where the receivers are. So I still am close enough to keep signal even when they lose signal. How do you like that? We're gonna dive into this little alcove, and even at 800 milliwatts, which we're at 800 milliwatts here, even at 800 milliwatts, we should get some breakup because this is just solid concrete. But we're gonna keep flying through it. And I had pretty much total breakup there at the very back, but I was able to keep going. I'm hoping that we're also seeing some multipathing here. I know I am seeing some multipathing in the Foxeer WildFire, which is the module I've got. We'll fly around here. These flat surfaces create a lot of bounces to the signal, and that's where multipathing comes from. Now I'm gonna try to fly, where are we going here? I'm gonna try to fly downstairs and see if we can get some real crazy bounces and weak signal, but I may fail safe or I may lose video. We'll see. So I'll just do a pass around here. This is directly underneath where I'm standing. I have no idea if those goggles are showing just total static or what. I'm breaking up here. Can I fly over here? I don't want to have to walk down there and get them. Yeah, seems okay. Well, there's some vehicles. Let's stay away from them. All right. We'll do one more pass around and then we'll come on up. This is the worst spot here. Yeah, right there. When I went behind that wall, I had near total breakup. Oh, come on, back up. And we'll see what we got. And now we are back at my house for some more traditional sort of open spaces freestyle versus the concrete jungle bando slaying. Here's the setup. And what I want you to see is that I got those patch antennas pointed back toward the barn. That area behind the barn, that is the area where the signal is the weakest on my property from this location. I know that from extensive experience flying here, and that is where I point the patch antenna when I am at the edge of coverage. So this is a realistic and best possible scenario. Okay, let's do that again, but this time without the Wi-Fi. Now, I was saying this part right about here is probably the weakest area next to the barn, but the patch antennas are pointed right at the barn. So right now we are about 180 degrees to that patch antenna. And so we're still technically kind of in the beam width, but definitely not the strongest part of the beam. There's also a pretty significant elevation change, and then as we fly this way, there will be some trees between us. Personally, with the WildFire, it's looking pretty good to me right this minute. We are not including the WildFire in this test, mainly because I can only test so many at a time because I'm recording the screens. Let's run through here again, and let's see what the breakup looks like. Hello, chickens! Definitely getting some breakup on the WildFire, but hanging in there. I also have different antennas. I have the VAS Crosshair Extreme and the VAS Ion V2 antenna, which I think are some of the best antennas you can get, but I don't have enough of them to put them on all the goggles I ever test. So let's, how about down here? Let's go down this way. I'm actually going to break my rule about flying off the property, and here's what I'm going to do. Hang on, I got to land. I am going to turn my head with my patch antenna in the direction over my neighbor's field here and the other goggles are not facing that direction. So I should be able to fly further in this direction. Let me make sure I'm not standing in the way. So we're going to be on the Omni antenna for the Fusion and the RapidFire, but I'm going to be on a crosshair. And so I should be able to go further, and if I do go down in this field, it's not the end of the world, because it's just, you know, my neighbor's field. I'm not hurting anybody. Doo-doo-doo. I heard them lose sync. I heard one of them lose sync. Well, let's bring it on back. Oh. You turn around, it really starts breaking up. Let me find the correct alignment here. There you go. Well, I heard one of them lose sync. Who was it? I wonder. Let's finish this pack with just some regular old flying. And I actually... I've been using Crossfire Shot with 150 hertz, and I've had it locked at 150 hertz for the maximum consistency, which makes it as smooth as possible, but also keeps the latency as low as possible. But for this testing, especially in the parking garage, I switched it from 150 hertz to 50 hertz because I wanted to make sure I didn't fail safe in the parking garage. And I can definitely feel the control is a little slushier. It definitely feels a little slushier. That's really something. I lost money, honestly. I lost money that I could feel it. Anyway, I'm not trying to do the best freestyle in the world, because I'm not the best freestyle pilot in the world, but also just because I'm trying to just get some movement and see how how these modules respond to the flying. How about down here? Oh, we are really off the patch antenna down here. Like, I'm slightly on the patch antenna. If I angle my head just slightly, I can pick it up, but this line has changed. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. So we're going to have to be careful not to crash into my wife's camper. Or that tree. Ah! Alrighty, guys. Well, let's call that a flight. We'll take that back in, and we'll see how these guys did. Now, my policy with these tests is usually not to tell you, like, what I think. Because I've been doing these tests long enough to know that I'll look at a test result and go, oh, clearly module A won. This is so obvious. And then a bunch of people will say, clearly module B won. And I'm just like, fine, clearly our brains are not seeing the same thing. You look at the results and you decide. And I hope that by now you've already done that, because I am going to tell you what I think, because I think the TBS Fusion deserves a great big shout out for what they've accomplished here. RapidFire has been the best performing analog module you could get for a long time. It has won so many shootouts. It just so consistently wins that I finally just said it. It's the best. And nobody has even matched its performance. Clearview matched its performance. Maybe it was pretty close, but Clearview is way more expensive. The TBS Fusion is, I think it's about $110. Maybe, I think they bumped the price up a little bit with the new hardware, but it's cheaper than the RapidFire, and I feel 100% confident saying that it at least tied the RapidFire in this test. I've been through this footage back and forth, frame by frame, slow-mo. I can't find a case. There's like one frame where the RapidFire rolls and the Fusion doesn't, and there's like one frame where the Fusion rolls the screen and the RapidFire doesn't. But overall, they just look neck and neck for me. And I gotta say, I think this is a case where a tie is actually a win for the RapidFire, because to match something that wins so definitively so much of the time when no one else has managed to do it except Clearview, which was $400, that is an enormous accomplishment. And this is really good news for people who buy TBS gear, for people who own a Unify and a Crossfire on every single one of their quads. And these people have the the potential to take advantage of a thing called TBS Cloud. You may have heard of this. It's the ability to, you see this little thing here? This is a Wi-Fi antenna. This has Wi-Fi built in, and it can talk to Wi-Fi in your Crossfire module, and through the Crossfire link, it can talk to your Unify. And that means that, for example, when you change the video transmitter channel on your goggles, it can change the video transmitter channel on your Unify, or vice versa. That's pretty slick. There are other facets of the TBS Cloud that are going to be there and let all these products interoperate in a way that nothing has done before. But until now, if you wanted to take advantage of that, you had to decide whether you were going to compromise on the quality of your RF module, because until now, the TBS Fusion did not match the RapidFire in performance. And I feel confident today saying, at least in this test, I feel confident saying that it did. TBS Fusion, it was neck and neck with the RapidFire, and if there was a winner, it falls well within the margin of error. So let's talk about the margin of error, because that is the elephant in the room here. There's always variance in the quality of products that come off a manufacturing line. Some are going to be better than others. And one of the reasons I finally felt comfortable saying that RapidFire was the best analog module you can get is that RapidFire has won so many head-to-head tests for so long that I feel like we finally got enough samples to say that the variance, even with taking into account the variance in RapidFire quality, that it's the best. We don't have that yet for the new hardware on the Fusion. It's brand new. So we have to at least acknowledge the possibility that the one I got is a really good one off the line, and maybe there are some worse ones out there. More testing is necessary before we know where the actual average is. But TBS is not known for making bad quality hardware. TBS is known for making very good quality hardware. And I think I asked TBS, what are you doing to keep the quality like high? Like, what are you doing to make sure that you don't have some stinkers and some that are really good? And they said, we're not going to tell you our trade secrets. But presumably they're doing something? I don't know. I look forward to seeing more testing, but I would say that if you are on the fence about getting a Fusion, because maybe you like the interface of the Fusion better than the RapidFire, maybe you like the TBS Cloud, or maybe you just want to support TBS as a company, I would say at this point I would not hesitate. If you don't already own a RapidFire, then you could get the Fusion. The RapidFire, on the other hand, well, this isn't a review of the RapidFire, so you could decide for yourself. Many people still own the RapidFire and like it, and you can watch a review of the RapidFire and see what you think about that. That's going to do it for this review of the TBS Fusion. So is it going to go in my goggles now? I mean, the main thing holding me back has been that the performance wasn't there. Now the performance is there. And maybe it won't do that stupid, annoying RapidFire desync screen roll thing, which would be pretty freaking nice. And it's cheaper than the RapidFire. I think Immersion finally has some competition. That's the takeaway. So, what you got, Immersion? We're going to see the RapidFire price come down. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Link in the video description, by the way. If this review helped you, convince you to buy it, you can use affiliate link down there. I get a small commission. Or don't. Up to you. Happy flying. What are you doing in here? The least you could do is subscribe or join my Patreon, or like just here's another video I picked out for you. Jeez.